The Lockheed Martin F-22 Raptor is an American single-seat, twin-engine, all-weather stealth tactical fighter aircraft developed exclusively for the United States Air Force. The result of USAF's Advanced Tactical Fighter program, the aircraft was designed primarily as an air superiority fighter but also has ground attack, electronic warfare, and signal intelligence capabilities. The prime contractor Lockheed Martin built most of the F-22's airframe and weapon systems and conducted final assembly, while Boeing provided the wing's aft fuselage, avionics integration, and training systems. So far, 13 F-22 Raptor are involved in crash, belly landing, engine, and other issues. So today, let's have a look at each one of them in short. 25th April 1992 YF-22 crash. A second YF-22 crashed while landing at Edwards Air Force Base in California. The test pilot Tom Morgenfeld escaped without injury, and the cause of the crash was found to be a flight control software error that failed to prevent a pilot-induced oscillation. During a touch-and-go, the plane began to oscillate violently for 8 seconds before slamming back down onto the runway and sliding several thousand feet, leaving a shower of sparks in its wake. The resulting fire was quickly put out, and the pilot was unharmed and did not have to eject, but the aircraft was never to fly again, effectively ending all YF-22 test flights. 22nd April 2002 F-22 Raptor engine issue. An F-22A Block 10 took off from Dobbins Air Base, Georgia on a planned cross-country ferry flight to Edwards AFB, California. Shortly after takeoff and during rendezvous with two Chase F-15s at 1,335 hours, the F-22 ingested an 8.5-pound loon in its right engine. Surprisingly, even though there was a lot of damage to the engine continued to operate normally. Damage to the aircraft was to the intake and the engine itself, and the engine could not be repaired. 28 September 2004 F-22 Raptor airframe overstressed. USAF F-22A Block 2 airframe was overstressed during tests with two external tanks. G-load limiter was exceeded when control was lost after the aircraft passed through the wake of an F-16. Flight control software was found to be the problem. The aircraft landed safely but never flew again. This video of F-22 shutdown is circulated on YouTube, but the video seemed to be fake. The Russian Ministry of Defense claims that the F-22 was shot down after it was spotted on radar, while the U.S. State Department denies that any U.S. aircraft were even in that area. Well, the new video footage shows that an F-22 stealth fighter was indeed shot down despite denials by the U.S. government. 20th December 2004 F-22 crash at Nellis Air Force Base. The first F-22 crash occurred during takeoff at Nellis AFB, with the pilot safely ejecting prior to impact. The investigation revealed that a brief power interruption during an engine shutdown prior to flight caused the flight control system malfunction, and as a result, the aircraft design was modified to avoid the problem. After a brief grounding, F-22 operations resumed following a review. 20th October 2005 F-22 engine damage. Around 10:30 p.m., the aircraft started its engines in preparation for a night training mission. A nose landing gear removed before flight safety pin or flag was swallowed by the right engine. The engine sustained $6.7 million in damage, but the rest of the aircraft was unharmed. The ground crew pulled the pin out during the engine run, which was not a proper procedure because it should have been pulled prior to engine start. The suction pulled it out of his hand. 10th April 2006 Canopy stuck issue. F-22 Raptor, after several hours of flight, a canopy became stuck in the closed position, trapping a pilot. After all other options had been exhausted, the canopy had to be cut in order to save the pilot. The plane was easily repaired, and the rescue team can be seen in the photo extracting the pilot after cutting the canopy. After all the other options had been exhausted, the canopy was cut as a last resort. 25th March 2009 F-22 crash at Northeast Edward Air Force Base. F-22 crashed 35 miles northeast of Edwards AF during a test flight, resulting in the death of Lockheed Martin test pilot David P. Cooley. An Air Force Material Command investigation found that Cooley momentarily lost consciousness during a high G maneuver, then ejected when he found himself too low to recover. Cooley was killed during ejection by blunt force trauma from wind blast due to the aircraft's speed. The investigation found no design issues. 16th November 2010 F-22 crash at Elmendorf Air Force Base. Captain Jeffrey Haney, the pilot, was killed, and the crash was attributed to a bleed air system malfunction after an engine overheat condition was detected, shutting down the environment control system and OBOGS. The Accident Review Board ruled Haney was to blame as he did not react properly and did not engage the emergency oxygen system. Haney's widow sued Lockheed Martin, claiming equipment defects. May 2012 F-22A Block 10 takeoff issue. A trainee pilot failed to advance to military power during takeoff and prematurely retracted the undercarriage, resulting in the jet skidding along the runway, causing $35 million damage. 15th November 2012 F-22 crash east of Tyndall Air Force Base. During a training mission, an F-22 crashed to the east of Tyndall AFB on 15th November 2012. The pilot ejected safely and no injuries were reported on the ground. The investigation determined that a shaved electrical wire ignited the fluid in a hydraulic line, causing a fire that damaged the flight controls. 4th January 2015 F-22A brake fire and gear collapse incident. On 4th of January 2015, USAF F-22A Block 30 brake fire and gear collapse on the starboard side while landing at Hickam AFB, Hawaii. Aircraft was eventually repaired at Honolulu. 6th April 2018 F-22 engine failure. On April 6, 2018, F-22 Raptor of the Alaska-based 3rd Wing, flying out of Tyndall Air Force Base, experienced an engine failure, but the fighter landed safely. 13th April 2018 engine power loss on takeoff. F-22 from the 90th Fighter Squadron in the 3rd Wing at Joint Base Elmendorf-Richardson skidded to a stop on the runway of Fallon in Nevada shortly after takeoff. The pilot egressed the aircraft safely. The aircraft was at NAS Fallon to participate in a training exercise with the U.S. Navy. Unofficial sources at the scene of the incident said that the slide happened on takeoff. It appears to have been a left engine flameout when the pilot throttled up to take off. By the time he realized the engine was dead, he'd already been airborne for a few seconds and raised the gear. The jet bounced for around 1,500 feet and then slid for about 5,000 feet. And with that, the Buzz is signing off for today, but don't forget to hit that notification and subscribe button so you won't miss out on any of our new videos.